How's everyone doing tonight? Well, I haven't even got started, come on. Thank you for letting me wear my prom dress tonight. It has pockets too, it's pretty amazing, right? Well, I'm Maci, and before I begin, I would like to thank the Dave Thomas Foundation for inviting my family to this special evening. It is an absolute honor to be standing in front of you and telling you my story. At an early age, I suffered tremendous loss and trauma. I lost both parents to drug addiction. I was 2 years old when my father, Victor, died. And after my father's death, my mother's drug use got extremely worse. I lost my hearing at the age of 3 due to untreated chronic ear infections. And my mother was unaware of my hearing loss until I was 5. And that's when I finally received hearing aids. When I was 8 years old, I was raped by a group of boys while I was outside playing unsupervised. When I was 11 years old, my mother died. And that is when I went into kinship care with my maternal aunt. When I was 16, my aunt and the rest of my biological family decided that I was too much for them to handle. I was dropped off at a group home. While I was at the group home, Stephanie, my Wendy's Wonderful Kids recruiter, was one of the few people who I trusted. I truly felt like she understood my struggles. And I knew that with her support, that I would get the loving family that I deserved. I know that unfortunately, there are cases where the foster care system fails children because of the overwhelming workload. But because of your support to the Dave Thomas Foundation, I was able to get a caseworker like Stephanie, who is amazing. She always had the time for me and my parents during and after the adoption process. I ended up being adopted 51 days before my 18th birthday, which changed my life more than I could ever allow myself to imagine. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to worry about whether or not I would have to move to another home. And I feel so loved. I have a tremendous amount of support from my parents, Gigi and Chris, and my siblings, Carolyn and Christopher. I now can come home to a safe, loving environment with 2 parents, siblings, and our adorable dog, Chex. Having the stability of a family is so impactful. The routine of having dinner together, sharing how your day was and your feelings is in a loving environment is more than I could ever allow myself to imagine as a young child. When I graduated high school, I had parents in the audience cheering for me. I had parents to help me plan for college, where I've made the dean's list every semester. I was even able to travel to Italy this past summer for a semester of study abroad. And sometimes I get teary-eyed when I step back and I see how amazing my life is now, how things have changed, and how amazing it is that I can now plan for my future. Because 2 short years ago, this would not have happened. Many people tend to forget that there are teenagers in the system that want and deserve families. Sometimes teenagers are overlooked or avoided because of a perception that they are too difficult to handle. I share my story because I want people to know that teenagers need just as much love and guidance as any young child would. The system considers your care complete when you turn 18 and you age out. And I ask every single one of you in this room, think about the time when you were 18. Were you ready to face the world? Now think about not having any parents, any family to love you, support you, or to guide you. It's a scary world out there, and no one should ever have to face it alone. Because of everyone in this room supporting the Dave Thomas Foundation and the Wendy's Wonderful Kids, I now stand before you as one less child without a family. I want to thank you for making my happy story possible. But more importantly, I want to thank you for the happy stories that you will and can make happen in the future. Thank you.
Fabulous.